Hello and welcome back to Judventures. I'm Darren, and first, let's address the elephant in the room. I look like an egg. Yes, I've had a shave, I look like a plonker, but every now and then it's got to be done. But with that being said, it's out in the open now. Let's get straight into this. So today we wanted to discuss an article that we've recently seen in regards to Alton Towers opening 365 days a year. So the article was by Stoke-on-Trent Live and discussed a report by Staffordshire Moorlands Council in which they unveiled a 10-year plan to increase tourism in the moorlands, a large part of which was Alton Towers opening 365 days a year. So let's discuss that question. Can Alton Towers afford to open 365 days a year? So Alton Towers is one of the UK's most popular and iconic theme parks with a history dating back to the 19th century. It's home to some of the most thrilling rides in the country, including the Smiler, Nemesis, Wicker Man and Oblivion. However, unlike some other theme parks, Alton Towers does not operate all year round. The park usually operates from March to November with some special events during October and December, with occasional events in February. But why is that, and could it change in the future? There are several reasons why Alton Towers does not open 365 days a year. One of them is the weather. The UK is known for its cold and wet climate, which can affect the operation and maintenance of some rides, especially the roller coasters, because rides such as the roller coasters have minimum operating temperatures to run smoothly. For example, the Smiler requires a minimum temperature of 5 degrees in order to operate. If the temperature drops below that, the ride may stop operating or may run on a reduced train schedule in order to keep up the proper maintenance. The weather can also affect the guest experience. Without the proper investment in infrastructure in Alton Towers, there's a large chance that you would come across lots of rain, wind and snow, as well as freezing temperatures throughout this time of the year. Now, if we take a look at my handy information here, which I'll try to pop on screen for you, throughout the summer months we have temperatures on average as high as 17 degrees. These do drop down to a balmy 10 degrees and 6 degrees in September and October respectively. But once you pass those last opening dates and you get into November and December, you're looking at temperatures as low as 4.5 degrees, and then into January 3.5 degrees. Now this wouldn't be very good for ride operations, with a lot of them being down during these cold times. But also the infrastructure at Alton Towers isn't well set up for the weather that we have during the winter months. So you will have lots of outdoor queues with queue times of up to an hour, 2 hours or more, especially during busy times. And if it's raining and freezing cold, this is going to have a really negative effect on the guest experience. There would have to be a lot of infrastructure changes within Alton Towers to allow this to go ahead, such as covered ride queues and indoor attractions. Now, I know we have Project Horizon on the horizon, very, very far on the horizon by the looks of it, because we haven't heard anything about that in a long time, and there is some speculation that that has been delayed to allow Alton Towers to focus on the Nemesis project and the potential rebranding of the Forbidden Valley area. However, when Project Horizon comes in and they invest in more indoor attractions or covering ride queues, it might be possible, but until that time it is going to be a bit too cold and a bit too wet for Alton Towers to open 365 days a year. Strangely enough, the average rainfall is actually higher during the summer months than it is during the winter months. So it's not so much about getting wet during these winter months, it's mainly about the temperatures, not only for the guests, but also for the operating temperatures of the rides and attractions as well, and the safety of guests. If you imagine there's lots of well-laid paths down in Alton Towers, should it get icy, that's a lot of work and a lot of money just to keep those pathways open, to keep them safe for all of the guests entering into the park during those winter months. Not only this, but the park is a seasonal park, which means it is used to maintaining the rides during the off season, with a lot of work going to fixing and maintaining these rides when the park is actually closed. Should the park decide to open 365 days a year, it then needs to create a more dynamic schedule to allow rides to be down whilst others are perfectly running, in order to make sure that the guests have plenty to do when they're there. We've obviously seen times this year, such as the Run Alton Towers, where there was 3 or 4 rides down at a time all day, in addition to a number of rides going up and down throughout the day as well. If you were to have a 365 days a year schedule where 2 rides were down to be fixed for their maintenance, you would have to make sure all of the other rides were up and running and completely fine with no downtime, and it's something that Alton Towers has suffered from quite badly over the last year or so. Another reason is the location. Alton Towers is situated in a rural area of Staffordshire, surrounded by natural beauty and wildlife, and the park has to comply with all sorts of planning and noise regulations which limit the size and height of rides, as well as the opening hours. Now, the park has to respect the local residents and environment, and to avoid causing disturbance and damage throughout the area as well. This means at the moment that the park can't operate late at night using loud fireworks or music, but more so for the location, it's actually situated in quite an inaccessible area by public transport. It's quite difficult to reach by car as well at times, and especially during the winter months, if you have quite a large area of snow or any snowy downfalls, any flooded roads, it's also going to make it that little bit harder to get to the park as well. And a third reason is the overall demand. Alton Towers, as mentioned previously, is a seasonal park, which means that it attracts more people during certain times of the year, such as the summer month and school holidays. During these peak periods, the park can be very busy and crowded with long queues and wait times. However, during the off-peak season and the winter months, the park can be very quiet with low attendance. Now, if you want another 3 months of low attendance, there's not much money coming in, but still the same cost to maintain the rides, it might be a bit too much in both marketing and operational expenses for Alton Towers to foot the bill off when you've not got the attendance there to pay for the upkeep of these rides. But saying that, those are all negative views on why it wouldn't open for 365 days a year, but there are some reasons that Alton Towers may open for 365 days a year. One of them is competition. Alton Towers isn't the only theme park in the UK, and it has to face the challenges of other parks such as Thorpe Park, Chessington's World of Adventures, Legoland and Blackpool Pleasure Beach, most of which are owned by Merlin Entertainment. However, some of these parks do have longer operational seasons, or even there's a few that operate all year round, which gives them a slight advantage over Alton Towers in terms of the time allowed for footfall within their parks. And another reason is diversification. Alton Towers is not just a theme park but a resort as well, which offers a variety of attractions and activities to people of different ages and interests. The resort includes 2 water parks, a spa, a golf course, a dungeon, a garden and several hotels and lodges. Some of these attractions are open all year round, and allowing the park to be open all year round as well would further promote these types of activities to people wanting to go and stay in these lodges or hotels and then enter the parks as well. So, will Alton Towers open 365 days a year? I think the answer is we don't know. There are a lot of things going against Alton Towers opening 365 days a year, the main of which is that we are based in the UK, and the UK just isn't a 365 day a year country. Coming up to the Christmas period, Christmas takes over everything, the Christmas attractions are there. However, theme parks and summer events are put on hold because of the weather, and the climate that we have here isn't conducive to holding these events like you do during the summer. This would be a very difficult thing for Alton Towers to get around because of the uncovered ride queues, because of the operating temperatures. There would be a lot of work needed to go into making the resort a 365 day a year resort. Having said that, there is definite interest from both Staffordshire Moorlands Council as well as Alton Towers themselves to look into operating 365 days a year, so we may see that, but we have a feeling that this isn't going to be anytime soon. Anyway, this was a really quick video. Let us know what you think about the idea of Alton Towers opening 365 days a year. Do you think this is a good idea, or do you think with the current state of operations at Alton Towers that this would be a bad idea? And with that being said, by all means, please smash the subscribe button, smash it again as many times as you can. Let's get us rocketing up to 1,000 subscribers, or even more. Let's aim for 1 million, but we'll settle at 1,000. Hit the like button, leave us a comment down below, and we'll see you on the next one. Roll the credits.